Hello and welcome to Afis Concept TV, where we give you the latest news, gist and gossips. To all our listeners and subscribers, we say thank you for always tuning in to listen to us. And if you are just joining us, we say welcome to Afis Concept TV. Kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And do not forget to turn on your notification post to be the first person to get notification when we upload them. And now to the news of today, the headline. Opinions. Why Nigerians must protest against bad governance by Samuel Adaluson Isogun. And now to the main news. Therefore, it is time for citizens to challenge the status quo by instituting a revolutionary change. The framework of democracy in Nigeria is crumbling, and the future of its citizens teeters at the top. Despite the vast resources and potential of our country, the plague of unbridled corruption, economic mismanagement, and political impunity has brought it to the brink of collapse, as our leaders continue to prioritize personal interests over the people's welfare. Therefore, it is time for citizens to challenge the status quo by instituting a revolutionary change. Similarly, for us to achieve a just and equitable society that is established on the ethical culture of fairness, transparency, accountability, and overall good governance, we must unite together to defeat the forces of bad governance. Furthermore, when you have administrators who do not see a problem where there is a problem, then there is a big problem. No company owners would have employees run a company the way Nigeria is being run. And no company that is being run like Nigeria would still be in operation and wouldn't have effectively gone into a state of absolute extinction. In contrast, unlike a country, the process of a company folding up is reasonably safer for everyone, even though it might not be economically profitable for the owners. For a company, there is a process of liquidation where the operation ceases completely. Afterwards, assets are sold off to settle debts, and the remaining funds will be distributed to creditors and shareholders based on priority. Lastly, workers would then be generally laid off before the company gets dissolved, totally and officially. On the other hand, in the case of a country, the situation is extremely complex and the risks are significantly great. This is because the breakup of a country, particularly an unstable nation, will potentially lead to political instability, economic disruption, social unrest, and regional conflicts. Inevitably, innocent citizens will be made to bear the brunt of the consequences and suffer for the actions of their leaders. The tragic events will consequently include displacement, human rights abuses, and overall loss of lives. But in all fairness, no follower deserves to experience misfortune by suffering for the actions of commanders who refuse to acknowledge their weaknesses and take heed. In fact, a competent and logical commander will not continue to apply the same technique without re-strategizing and zealously expecting positive results every time. Sincerely, I hate the idea of pessimism, but what I hate most is a delusional thought, and to believe that Nigeria is currently working is the latter, and to think that it might not work with the way it is currently run is the former. But honestly, I would rather be a pessimist who sees the reality of our situation than a delusional optimist who thinks everything is fine when it is clearly not. Meanwhile, in certain situations, it can be extremely amusing when we deliberately allow people to lie to us. However, choosing to consciously lie to ourselves under any circumstances is outwardly unreasonable. Additionally, not at any time should the law for one country blind one's perception to the reality that is not only threatening the existence of the country but one's existence. I was taught about the two tiers of government: legislature, executive, and judiciary, and I was also taught the separation of powers, which serves as a check and balance to prevent the abuse of power. Then, my government teacher highlighted the government's failure in its responsibility to the people, such as making provisions for basic amenities like quality education, healthcare, infrastructure, and access to clean water, despite the available resources and economic capabilities. Correspondingly, he equally criticized the present economic corruption at that time but assertively assured us that Nigeria will be better, and we believed him. His affirmative statement and assurance became a chorus for us at any political discussion, social gathering, and debate, enabling us to cheerfully intercommunicate our political knowledge and civic understanding. Meanwhile, during this time, things were even great when people were complaining of bad governance and corruption. The principle of democracy hasn't been violated. Groundnuts and biscuits were 5 naira, and the fuel pump was 65 naira, 100 naira, was sufficient for my lunch money, and I was even able to keep some change afterwards. There was no violent invasion, scaling offences by unethical characters, brawling or stealing of maize at the National Assembly by political criminals and state-sponsored thugs. There were no Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen. Essentially, the country was predominantly peaceful and defined by unity and harmony. So it was realistic that things would get better when our government teacher gave his assurance. Likewise, it was reasonable for us to believe him. In the later years, we were still convinced the country would get better and continued to encourage one another before proceeding to the university. However, now that I'm an adult, should I continue to sing the dithyrambic song of hope from my childhood that Nigeria is going to get better when things are getting worse every day? Before now, with 500 naira, one would eat breakfast, buy 2 eggs for 50 naira, sliced bread for 350 naira, and milk and Milo for 100 naira. But 2 eggs are now 500 naira, milk and Milo and 400 naira, and sliced bread of 350 is now sold for 1,800 naira. Every time you go to the store to purchase a commodity, you don't buy the same price as yesterday. Groundnuts and biscuits are now sold for 100 naira. The cost of transportation has skyrocketed, and fuel pump prices are around 800 naira depending on your state of residence. There is no check and balance and separation of power. The will of President Executive is the declaration of the legislature, and the command of the executive and legislature is the ruling of judiciary, and the desire of the judiciary is to be favored by the executive and the legislature. But hey, Nigeria is going to get better, and there is no need for the citizens to hit the streets. In fact, no right-thinking Nigerian who was taught the fundamental of governance and understood the significance of democracy and the concept of civic education should accept the endless perpetration of corruption and outright violation of the law by the government officials who are supposed to uphold the law and abide by the principle of democracy. No reasonable citizen should remain silent in the face of the brazen impunity and abuse of power by its leader without taking to the streets until every one of them is forced out of office. It is unacceptable and extremely shameful that we allow them to get away with their malfeasance as they continue to break every law and violate every code of conduct. Notably, if Nigeria is truly going to get better, the reality should be seen through the equitable actions of the government and the experience of the people. My Elijah people would say, the eyes that are going to be useful for the owner until his death will not start squinting during his early years and consistently show symptoms of defects when functioning. Specifically, this should mean life should be getting easier. Corruption should have been minimal, if not completely eradicated. Our infrastructure should be forward-looking and ahead of time. The economy should be stronger. We should be able to fund the national budget without the financial assistance of international creditors. The civil servants should be earning well. The retirees should not be old. Public universities should not have any reasons to embark on strike. We should not be dealing with any form of insecurity. Every child should have access to education. Every household should have access to clean water and healthcare. Economic empowerment should be a continuous process and not a pre-election initiative. Every citizen should enjoy equal rights. In the same vein, we wouldn't have had a National Assembly that approves the construction of a rail line to another country when most of the economic region in the country haven't been adequately linked by railways, and the majority of the federal highways is in deplorable conditions. Lawmakers would not be buying expensive cars every new month with our current mega debt and economic shortfall. Therefore, enough is enough with bad leadership in Nigeria. It is time to put an end to corruption and incompetent leadership. If this country is going to get better, it is not by mere verbal declaration and definitely not by prayer and fasting. Rather, it is by collective efforts and uncompromising actions. In order to achieve a reformative change, standing in opposition to the system is what is required, not waiting until decisive action is going to naturally take effect. This is literally like waiting for Godot. Inarguably, the politicians are earning too much money for people who have failed their responsibility to deliver good governance. No employee should be getting exorbitant pay for underperformance and failing in their place of work. Conclusively, democracy is dying in Nigeria, and we all need to come out en masse on the 1st of August 2024 to save it from corrupt and failed leadership. Yes, this government has failed us. And of course, they should not, if you don't do your job very well, of course you won't get paid. But these people are getting paid for going to the National Assembly to shout, to fight, to do irrelevant things. And they get paid for it. Though I doubt if the protest is still going to continue, but the opinion of this person really counts, because the economic is in shambles right now. So I hope that people will still find a way to come out to protest, but I doubt it. But this government should be held accountable for something, because they really do not want to be held accountable. They are enjoying the money, they are enjoying the power, and they don't understand the plight of a common citizens, which is not supposed to be so. My listeners, what do you think? Kindly leave your thoughts in the comment section. Do not forget to like, to share, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.